You have been reliable, steadfast, ethical. You have shown up when others disappeared. You have maintained your integrity when cutting corners would have been easier. You have given your time, your energy, your genuine care to people and situations that asked for it. And yet when you look at how you are treated, when you examine the actual respect you receive, it amounts to so little. A brief thank you, a passing acknowledgement. Crumbs. Meanwhile, you watch others who do far less, who operate with far less integrity, receive celebration, appreciation, the full measure of recognition. You have tried to tell yourself that being good should be enough, that doing the right thing is its own reward, that you should not need external validation. But underneath that rationalization, you feel the truth of it. You are being taken for granted. Your goodness has become expected, assumed, something people count on without ever truly seeing it. And the exhaustion of this, the quiet injury of it, has accumulated in ways you have not wanted to admit. You thought if you just continued being good, if you maintained your principles, if you gave what was needed, eventually people would recognize your worth. They have not. They have learned instead that you will accept very little and continue giving very much. This is not about ego. This is not about needing constant praise. This is about something deeper, something that Hannah Arendt understood about the human condition that most ethical people miss entirely. There is a mistake embedded in how good people relate to respect, to recognition, to their place among others, and this mistake ensures they will continue accepting crumbs while believing they should want nothing at all. The mistake begins with a fundamental misunderstanding about where goodness lives. When you are someone who genuinely tries to live with integrity, who thinks carefully about their impact, who attempts to do right even when it costs you, you naturally develop an internal orientation. You cultivate what Arendt called the vita contemplativa, the life of the mind, the reflective existence where you examine your actions, consider your values, engage in the internal dialogue that constitutes genuine thinking. This is valuable. This is necessary. But here is what happens. You begin to believe that this internal ethical life is sufficient. You begin to think that because you know your own worth, because you can see your own integrity, because you understand the quality of what you give, this recognition from yourself should be enough. You tell yourself that seeking acknowledgement from others is shallow, that needing recognition is weakness, that truly good people do not require external validation, and so you stop expecting it. You stop asking for it. You stop claiming the respect that your actions have earned. You convince yourself that humility means accepting whatever others choose to give you, that being good means being content with crumbs. But Arendt understood something crucial about human existence that this perspective misses entirely. We do not live only in the realm of private contemplation. We exist in what she called plurality, among others, in the space of appearance where we show up as ourselves in the world. And in this realm, in the space where humans interact, where we work and love and build lives together, existence requires appearance. Your internal knowledge of your own worth does not automatically translate into recognition in the world of human action. The vita activa, the active life we live among others, operates according to different principles than the contemplative life of the mind. In the space of appearance, you exist only as you appear to others. Your goodness, no matter how genuine, no matter how consistent, becomes real in the social world only when it is acknowledged, when it is seen, when it is met with the recognition it deserves. This is not superficial. This is not about vanity. This is about the fundamental structure of how humans exist together. The mistake good people make is treating respect as something that should emerge naturally from merit, like water flowing downhill. You believe that if you are genuinely good, genuinely valuable, genuinely worthy of respect, this will simply become apparent to others without you having to assert it. You have been taught that claiming recognition for yourself is arrogant, that asking for respect is demanding, that truly humble people accept whatever is given without complaint. But this confuses humility with self-negation. Humility is an accurate assessment of yourself, both your limitations and your genuine worth. What you have been practicing is not humility. It is a kind of ethical self-erasure, where you have made your goodness so quiet, so unassuming, so willing to go unnoticed, that others have learned they need not notice it at all. And here is the painful irony. The less you assert your worth, the less others perceive it. Not because they are malicious, though some may be, but because humans recognize what is claimed, what is presented, what takes up space in the shared world. If this perspective is opening something up for you, consider subscribing. I explore these territories every week, and I would love to have you along for the journey. Think about how this actually operates in your life. You are the person who can be counted on. When there is difficult work to be done, you do it. When there is a problem that needs solving, you solve it. When someone needs support, you provide it. Your consistency, your reliability, your integrity have become so predictable that they no longer register as remarkable. They have become the baseline, the expectation, the thing that simply is. Meanwhile, someone who shows up occasionally, who helps when it is convenient, who performs their goodness with visibility and fanfare, receives disproportionate appreciation. Why? Because they have asserted the value of their actions. They have claimed recognition. They have made their contributions appear in the space where humans acknowledge each other. You have not. You have been so focused on the internal quality of your actions, on maintaining your ethical standards in the private realm of conscience, that you have neglected the public dimension of existence, the arena where recognition actually occurs. Arendt wrote about the banality of evil, how ordinary thoughtlessness could lead to extraordinary harm when people simply followed systems without examining what they were doing. But there is also something we might call the banality of goodness, where ethical action becomes so routine, so expected, so unremarked upon, that it loses its power in the social world. When you make your goodness banal, when you treat it as unremarkable, when you expect nothing in return for it, others learn to treat it the same way. Your goodness becomes background noise, something that operates silently while the louder, more assertive, less genuinely ethical people capture the attention and recognition. This is not because the world is fundamentally unjust, though it often is. This is because you have made a mistake about the nature of human recognition. You have assumed that merit speaks for itself. It does not. In the human world, the space of appearance where we exist for and with each other, value must be asserted, claimed, made visible. I know many of you watching this have been carrying this pattern for years, maybe your whole life. You have been the good one, the reliable one, the person everyone counts on, and you have received so little genuine recognition that you have convinced yourself you should not want it. You have been alone with this, thinking something is wrong with you for feeling hurt when your integrity goes unacknowledged, for feeling angry when others receive appreciation you never get. But here is what I want you to understand. The moment you name this pattern, the moment you acknowledge that you have been accepting crumbs when you deserve respect, something shifts. You stop pretending this is okay. So let me ask you directly. How long have you been accepting less than you deserve? When did you first learn to make yourself small, so others would not feel threatened by your integrity? I want you to share in the comments, not because I need engagement, but because someone else watching this needs to see your words. They need to know they are not alone in this pattern, and if you cannot find the words right now, if it feels too vulnerable to articulate, just type this. I have been accepting crumbs. That is it. Just those 5 words, because when you do, you create permission for dozens of others to acknowledge this same pattern. Your honesty, your willingness to name what has been happening, it helps break the silence that keeps all of us trapped in this mistake. So comment below. Tell me where you are in this. I read every single one, and I promise you, you are not alone in what you have been experiencing. Now let us go deeper into why this mistake persists, why good people continue accepting crumbs even after they recognize the pattern. There is a fear underneath this, a fear that Arendt would have recognized immediately. It is the fear that claiming respect, asserting your worth, taking up space in the world of human plurality, will compromise your goodness itself. You have conflated ethical integrity with self-effacement. You believe that truly good people do not advocate for themselves, do not assert their value, do not insist on being treated well. You think that the moment you claim recognition, you become like those people you judge, the ones who demand attention, who perform their goodness for applause, who make everything about themselves. But this conflation is the trap. There is a vast difference between narcissistic demand for attention and rightful assertion of worth. The narcissist needs constant validation because they have no internal sense of value. You have genuine worth, genuine contributions, genuine integrity. Claiming recognition for this is not arrogance, it is accuracy. Arendt understood that action, genuine action in the world, requires what she called natality, the capacity to begin something new, to initiate, to assert oneself into the space where humans exist together. When you refuse to assert your worth, when you accept crumbs of respect while giving full measures of integrity, you are not practicing humility. You are withdrawing from the vita activa, from the active life where humans show up as themselves and make claims about their place in the world. You are retreating into pure contemplation, into the private realm of conscience, and hoping that your internal goodness will somehow be recognized without you having to make it visible. But the space of appearance does not work this way. It requires appearance. It requires you to show up not just in your actions, but in your assertion of what those actions mean, what they deserve, what place you should occupy among others. Consider what actually happens when you accept crumbs. You tell yourself you are being humble, that you are above needing recognition, that your goodness is its own reward. But what you are actually doing is training others in how to treat you. You are teaching them that they can take your integrity for granted, that they need not reciprocate your care, that token gestures are sufficient response to substantial contributions, and humans, even good humans, will generally give as little as they can get away with. Not because they are evil, but because they are busy, distracted, focused on their own concerns. When you signal that you require very little, they provide very little. When you accept crumbs, they learn to offer only crumbs. And then you feel hurt, resentful, exhausted by the disparity between what you give and what you receive. But you have created this pattern. You have made accepting crumbs your practice, your habit, your way of moving through the world. The path forward requires understanding that respect in human affairs is not only earned through merit, but also claimed through assertion. This does not mean becoming demanding or entitled. It means recognizing that you have a right to insist on reciprocity, to expect genuine acknowledgement, to refuse token gestures when substantial respect is warranted. It means understanding that the space where humans exist together operates through mutual recognition. And when you withdraw from claiming your place in this space, you become invisible, not because you lack worth, but because you have chosen invisibility. Arendt wrote about the importance of speech and action in the public realm, how humans disclose themselves through asserting their presence among others. When you practice ethical self-erasure, when you make your goodness so quiet that it requires no response, you are not being humble. You are failing to exist fully in the world where humans recognize each other. This is difficult for genuinely good people to hear, because it requires acknowledging that integrity alone is insufficient. You have believed that if you just maintain your principles, if you continue acting ethically, if you give what is needed without asking for return, you are doing what is right. And in the realm of pure ethics, in the contemplative space of conscience, this is true, but you do not live only in that realm, you live among others. You exist in relationships, in work, in communities where recognition matters, where being seen matters, where the reciprocity of respect is what makes human life sustainable. When you deny yourself this dimension of existence, when you accept crumbs while telling yourself you should want nothing, you are not transcending the need for recognition. You are suppressing a legitimate human need and wondering why you feel so exhausted, so invisible, so hurt. The mistake is thinking that goodness and self-advocacy are opposed. They are not. You can maintain absolute integrity while also insisting that your integrity be recognized. You can be genuinely ethical while also refusing to accept inadequate treatment. You can care deeply about doing right while also caring that your rightness receives appropriate acknowledgement. These are not contradictions. They are different dimensions of human existence, the contemplative and the active, the private conscience and the public appearance, the internal ethical life and the life lived among others. When you neglect one dimension in favor of the other, you create an imbalance that leads to exactly what you are experiencing now. You have worth that goes unseen. You have integrity that goes unacknowledged. You have contributions that are taken for granted. And you have convinced yourself this is how it should be. But Arendt would ask you to consider what is lost when good people withdraw from asserting themselves in the space of appearance. What is lost is not just your own well-being, though that matters. What is lost is the visibility of goodness itself in the world. When ethical people practice self-erasure, when they make their integrity so quiet and unassuming that it requires no recognition, they allow less ethical people to dominate the space where humans acknowledge each other. They create a world where loudness matters more than substance, where performance matters more than genuine contribution, where those who demand respect receive it, while those who deserve it accept crumbs. This is not just personally damaging. This is a kind of abandonment of the public realm, a withdrawal from the space where human values are negotiated and established. When good people refuse to claim their place, to assert their worth, to insist on genuine recognition, they leave the field to those who have no such hesitation. So the question becomes, what would it mean to stop accepting crumbs? Not to become demanding or entitled, not to require constant praise, not to make everything about yourself, but simply to expect reciprocity, to insist on genuine acknowledgement, to refuse token gestures when substantial respect is due. It would mean recognizing that your internal knowledge of your worth must be matched by external assertion of that worth. It would mean understanding that in the space where humans exist together, you have a right to be seen, to be acknowledged, to receive recognition proportional to what you give. It would mean letting go of the belief that needing recognition is weakness and accepting that it is simply part of being human, part of existing in plurality, part of how we sustain ourselves in the active life among others. This requires practice. You have spent perhaps years or decades training yourself to accept very little, to expect minimal acknowledgement, to make your goodness so unassuming that it demands nothing. Reversing this pattern means consciously choosing to assert your worth, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it triggers fears about becoming arrogant or demanding. It means speaking up when your contributions are taken for granted. It means refusing to continue in relationships or situations where crumbs are offered instead of respect. It means letting people know that you will not accept inadequate treatment, that your integrity deserves genuine acknowledgement, that you are no longer willing to make yourself invisible in the space where humans recognize each other. This is not about ego. This is about existing fully in the world, about claiming your place in the vita activa, about understanding that respect in human affairs must sometimes be asserted, not just earned. If what I am sharing here resonates with something you have been feeling, something you have not quite been able to name, then I want you to know you are not alone in this. There are many of us exploring these questions, examining these patterns, learning to exist more fully in the space where humans acknowledge each other. I create these videos for people who are ready to go deeper, who are not satisfied with surface answers, who want to understand the philosophical structures underneath their struggles. If that is you, consider subscribing. Not because you need another channel to follow, but because this journey of understanding yourself, of learning to claim your worth while maintaining your integrity, it helps to have companions along the way. People who will not offer you easy fixes but will sit with you in the complexity of these questions. I will be here every week with another exploration, another perspective, another way of seeing what has been difficult to articulate. And I would be honored to have you here as part of this community of people who think deeply about how to exist with integrity in a world that often rewards the opposite. So if this feels right, hit that subscribe button. And if you found value in this particular exploration, let me know in the comments what resonated most with you. Your reflections often illuminate things I had not considered, and hearing where you are in this pattern helps me understand what needs to be explored more deeply. The work ahead is not about becoming someone different. It is about recognizing that you have been operating with an incomplete understanding of how goodness functions in the human world. You have believed that ethical integrity is sufficient, that internal knowledge of your worth should be enough, that truly good people accept whatever recognition others choose to give. But Arendt understood that humans exist in plurality, in the space of appearance, in the realm where we disclose ourselves through speech and action and mutual recognition. When you withdraw from this dimension, when you practice ethical self-erasure, when you accept crumbs while deserving respect, you are not transcending the need for acknowledgement. You are denying a fundamental aspect of human existence. You are pretending that the contemplative life alone is sufficient when you also live an active life among others, a life that requires you to appear, to be seen, to claim your place. And here is what changes when you stop accepting crumbs. You do not become arrogant, you do not become demanding, you do not lose your integrity or your care for doing right. You simply become more complete in how you exist. You honor both dimensions of human life, the private realm of conscience where you maintain your ethical standards, and the public realm of appearance where you insist those standards be recognized. You understand that respect is not only about what you deserve, but also about what you claim. You recognize that in human affairs, value must be asserted as well as earned, that goodness must take up space as well as be practiced quietly, that integrity deserves acknowledgement and you have the right to expect it. This does not compromise your ethics. It completes them. It allows you to exist fully as a human among humans, maintaining your principles while also insisting on reciprocity, giving genuinely while also receiving adequately, being good while also being seen. The mistake that makes good people accept crumbs of respect is the belief that their goodness should speak for itself, that internal integrity is sufficient, that claiming recognition compromises ethical purity. But Arendt knew that humans exist in the space between each other, in the realm where we appear to one another, where recognition is what makes existence real in the social world. When you accept crumbs, you are not being humble. You are withdrawing from this space, retreating into pure contemplation, hoping your worth will be recognized without you having to assert it. But the active life among others requires action, requires appearance, requires you to claim what you deserve. And claiming respect while maintaining integrity is not a contradiction. It is what it means to exist fully, to honor both the private conscience and the public life, to be good, and to insist that goodness be seen. You have been accepting crumbs because you thought you should want nothing. But wanting recognition is not weakness. It is acknowledgement of your humanity, of your need to exist among others, of your right to be seen for what you genuinely are. And what you are is worthy of more than crumbs. What you are deserves the full measure of respect. And learning to expect this, to claim this, to insist on this, is not a betrayal of your goodness. It is goodness finally understanding how to exist in the world where humans recognize each other, where appearance matters as much as essence, where your worth must be both earned and asserted. This is the path forward. Not away from integrity, but toward a more complete understanding of what integrity requires, when you exist not in isolation, but among others, not in pure contemplation, but in the active life where respect is negotiated, claimed, given, and received. You deserve more than crumbs, and recognizing this is not vanity. It is seeing clearly at last how human existence actually works.